Hey everybody, this is Dan for GemmyD on Cars, and this is going to be the second episode of my OBS news that we're talking about something going on in the car world, and I'm using my OBS software. So first, before we get started, I just got an email from YouTube this evening that says I was just approved for re-monetization for all my channels. So I am so pumped about it. Got the email from the YouTube partner team who just said I've been approved for re-monetization, so I am so pumped. It's definitely igniting my getting the juices flowing to see how I can create some different content. So I'm so pumped. So I'm very excited that it's finally happened. I've been waiting since April 27th to get re-monetized. So anyway, on to the topic of hand. So today we're going to talk about the 2019 Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. Now this is, obviously you're seeing Jalopnik and say this is way before you're supposed to see it, but look at this car. I mean, have you ever seen a grille as big on a car? I mean, the Aston Martin Rapide, which was their sedan, had a grille that looked exactly like this, which, if I'm honest, I wish it was a little bit smaller, but the back looks amazing. You can see these taillights kind of look like a Porsche Panamera. It's just one long thing, but it looks amazing. So this car is going to be powered by a 5.2 liter V12 that has 715 horsepower, 664 foot-pounds of torque, along with the ZF, industry standard 8-speed automatic, capable of launching the 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds, which is insane. Now this is their Super GT, they're calling it. They have the DB11 and they have the Advantage, which is their smaller lightweight V8 sports car, and the DB11 is more of the Grand Tourer. They have a twin turbo V12 and a V8 option, but I think this car looks fantastic. I cannot imagine driving a V12 car. I mean, just look at this. Twin turbo V12, 5.2 liters. I really like the air intake over here, over the front wheels. The DB11 sort of had a similar option like that on the front fender of their cars, but the wheels are beautiful. I like the carbon fiber roof. Wheel design is awesome. I mean, this thing is awesome. Now the only car that I think really competes with this car is the Ferrari 812 Superfast, which has a 6.3 liter V12. It's 789 horsepower. I mean, listen to this car right now. I mean, come on. Listen to this. Okay, number one, you cannot beat a Ferrari V12, a naturally aspirated Ferrari V12, which the Ferrari is naturally aspirated, but this Aston Martin uses forced induction, but 715 brake horsepower, which is just insane. I mean, okay, on the inside they have this forged carbon fiber, which I think is awesome. The Lamborghini Performante uses this forged carbon fiber. Now, my buddy Shmee just got to take a look around one, and he calls it chopped carbon fiber, but I think it's awesome. Interior I think is okay. Surely they use the greatest materials ever, and carbon fiber. There's a start button right there, and it's got a normal pop-up screen that every car has. Who cares what it looks like? It's going to drive amazingly and have 715 horsepower. So this says pricing should start around the $300,000 mark, which is typical. I'm sure the Ferrari is more. I didn't expect this car to come out from Aston Martin today. I guess they're competing against the Ferrari and not much else. I mean, everything else is a V8 twin turbo setup, like cars like the Porsche 911 Turbo, GT2 RS. The Performante is a whole different type of car. It's got a V10, but this says it loses 160 pounds from the DB11 as far as using lightweight materials, carbon fiber body panels. Now, Superleggera means super light, so I guess they're going for lightweight as opposed to different materials. Now it says the car will produce 400 pounds of downforce. It has a fixed rear wing right here. Here, let's take a look at Shmee.
For aerodynamics, the car boasts 180 kilos of downforce. It makes...
I mean, let's just take a look at this car. I'm not crazy about this sort of gray matte finish paint that
GemmyD badge right here on the carbon fiber bonnet. That's a historical tribute to their work with Carrozzeria Touring, who designed and worked on many of the earlier cars, Superleggera being the Italian word for super light. So we're talking DB4, DB5, DB6.
So this car and Aston Martin in general has me thinking about the state of the car industry, and that this is the golden age of horsepower. I mean, we have small-ish size coupes with 700 horsepower. You have the Dodge Demon with 840 horsepower. You have that V12 Ferrari with 790 horsepower. I mean, it is just insane the number of horsepower that these cars are producing. And I saw an article today that after we get over the whole horsepower wars, the new competition is going to be weight saving, and it shows that McLaren is already well aware of this trend, and that, you know, the new Senna only has 740 horsepower, but it is the lightest and the most aerodynamic car that they've ever made, and it seems like aerodynamics are going to be the key. Now, Aston Martin already has my attention from producing the Valkyrie, which I think has the potential to be one of the most insane road cars of all time. I mean, here's a video that GemmyD did. By the way, GemmyD 150 is the greatest. So look at this car. Look how extreme this car looks. It is unlike any other car that has ever been manufactured. You can see through the car. It's 100% carbon fiber. It's just the most advanced aerodynamic car that has ever been made and might possibly ever be made. So Aston Martin is ahead of the game as far as aerodynamics. This car, the Valkyrie, is not out yet, but it's got a V12 and I think well over 1,000 horsepower. It's going to be their hypercar, I guess you could say. But look at that. You can see through the car at every angle. I know that the Valkyrie was designed by a guy named Adrian Newey, who works, there's an ad, who works for Red Bull Racing. So he was in charge of the F1 team. So he obviously knows a little bit about aerodynamics. So the Valkyrie is going to be the most aerodynamic car of all time, and possibly the fastest car to ever go around the track. I mean, anymore we have forced induction cars, but Mercedes is coming out with the Project One, which is going to have a 1.6 liter F1 engine in a road car. This Valkyrie is obviously the most extreme looking car probably of all time. I mean, look at the doors. And I know people were complaining that it's going to be hard to get people into this car. I mean, look at the carbon fiber tub here. You have to climb over it into the car. So Aston Martin, I think, is ahead of the game as far as the aerodynamics, and I cannot wait until the Valkyrie comes out. So the other thing Aston Martin has going for them is that they use Mercedes-Benz engines. I know this is a Mercedes-Benz engine, and it seems like Mercedes has arguably the best engines to offer, because the Pagani Huayra uses a Mercedes AMG V12. This car, Aston Martin, has an AMG V12. So it seems like Aston Martin is pairing up with the right people to get the correct power plant, because you cannot deny the performance and the sound of Mercedes AMG engines. So I'm excited to see this car out and about. I think the styling is good. I think the grille could be a little bit smaller. It just looks like a big gaping mouth. See, there's the Aston Martin Vulcan. That was another thing, $3.4 million. But anyway, I'm excited that we got to see this DBS Superleggera today. I think it was kind of unexpected, but I am excited to see it. I know I've never been in an Aston Martin. I've seen a few on the road. But this car has my attention. So I wanted to do a quick little video about this car that I think is going to do some damage in the car world in the coming year. I think you can get them by the end of the year. So hope you enjoy this video. I'm now monetized, so I'm going to strive to give you some really good content. Now, this is Tuesday, June 26th. I am driving a Ford Focus RS on Thursday that I am very, very excited about. So stay tuned for a drive of the Focus RS. I might actually be driving the competitor, the fourth competitor that I haven't driven, which is a WRX STI. I hope to be doing that in July at some point, so that'll give me some seat time behind all four of the hot hatches that are available in the USA. The Civic Type R, the Golf R, a Focus RS, and then a WRX STI. So I'm very excited to see that, to go through with that and drive that car. So stay tuned. I got some good stuff coming. Hope you enjoy this video. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give me some support, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.